we were in negotiations.
Investing in real estate, they're winning, they're making money.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Real Estate Educators Podcast, where we provide the education you can build on. I am your host, Kevin Amolsch. This podcast, Season 3, wrapping up, has been a ton of fun. We're helping real estate investors and real estate educators. So if you're out there building a portfolio, you're out there fixing and flipping, or if you're just providing content to investors, this is the podcast for you. Thank you so much for another great season. Season 3 in the books. I hope you have been enjoying the episodes as much as I have. If you have, please 5-star review and share this with a friend. Look, we're trying to build a community to help more real estate investors just like you. So Callie asked me to jump on here real quick and do a close solo podcast, no guest close for season number 3. And I'm happy to do it. It's going to be a little bit different than the past closing podcasts. And then I'm not going to go through each podcast guest and tell you my takeaways. Hopefully you go back and listen to all of those. And you know what I've been really trying hard to do is give a summary at the end of each podcast with the guest, telling them, you know, here's my notes, here's my takeaways, asking them if there's anything that I might have missed. And usually they think we're pretty spot on, but every once in a while they want to clarify one of my notes or something that I wrote down. So it's been a really fantastic way to close up these podcast episodes. I've been getting a ton out of it. So I hope you go back and listen to some of the episodes in season 3. I do want to go through a couple of the common themes that I've learned or what I've seen with the guests over the season. The first one is the importance of people. I am sure without exception, and this isn't just season 3, you guys, this is all 3 seasons, but without exception, the most important piece of advice or the most important, I guess, variable to success that I've heard is people. So like who is on your team, who's in your network, who are you surrounding yourself with? These are what I've been hearing over and over and over as I go through these interviews. And I got to tell you, I 100% agree. If you've been reading our newsletters or checking out our YouTube channel or different articles and blog posts, you'll know that I'm really into this right now. And it's because I've joined a couple of different mastermind groups where we meet regularly to dig into each other's personal financial situations, our investments, due diligence, business and personal growth, a lot of family, being a better parent, being a better spouse. So I've been actually learning an absolute ton and been getting challenged to the max in these different masterminds. And I got to tell you, it's those people that I'm choosing to surround myself with that has made a big difference in my success over the last handful of years. And I do want to say that as you get started and you're building your networks and the people that you surround yourself with, what you will find is that will change and grow as you grow. And another point here is you can force that. Like you'll naturally be attracted to different people and want to hang out with them, and you're like-minded, and all of that's true. But you can intentionally put yourself in a room with people that are higher net worth, more income, or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, better at a certain skill. You could put yourself in those rooms very intentionally and surround yourself with the right people. So you can either do it organically or you could be very intentional and do it. I think I shared this story a couple of times, but as I was starting out, even before I started Pine Financial, I was just barely a brand new private money lender. This was back in 2006. And I wanted to grow and I wanted to be a better real estate investor and private lender. And there was no masterminds for this, right? So I decided to create my own mastermind, and I identified maybe 15 people that I really wanted to meet with every single month that would elevate my career. And I just started making phone calls, literally cold calling them. One of them was the owner of Your Castle Real Estate. I call him up. Hey, will you join my mastermind group? And, I heard a lot of no's. That one happened to be a yes, but I heard a lot of no's. And then I would just expand my list and keep calling and keep trying to get the very, very best people. And for me, it was everybody that is interested in real estate, that runs a company, that are not competing. So a real estate attorney, a real estate agent, a real estate lender, a title company. And then we all came together and we would meet once every single month. And you know what? We held each other accountable and all of our business flourished. And I think it's a big part of that is because of this mastermind group that I intentionally put together, and you can do that too. So that is the number one common theme that almost, or actually, yes, every single guest had in common. Another one is leveling up. You need to start thinking about bigger and better. You guys, we limit ourselves. This is something Tony Robbins talks about all the time, limiting beliefs. How do you stop those limiting beliefs or avoid those limiting beliefs? It's time. Now is the time. 2025, let's level up. Expand your mind, expand what you think is possible because you know something, it is possible. One of the very, very best ways to do this outside of surrounding yourself with the right people is just reading books. Read books, get educated, and dream big. Another one is never stop learning. I just said reading books. I think it was Scott Trench. We interviewed him at the Denver Success Summit. One of the things he's a big believer on is reading 50 or more books a year. Now that sounds terrible, or not terrible, but it sounds very difficult, which it is. But if you have something like Audible and you're listening to audiobooks, when you're working out, when you're getting ready in the morning, when you're driving to and from work, you might be surprised at how many books you can really consume if you're focused in on it. Now, 50 does seem like a lot to me, but hey, if it's a routine and every single day you're trying to improve on yourself, that's the investment you need to make. There is really no better investment with a return on investment than investing in your own self, your own education, and your own personal growth and development. And then another one, finally, I wanted to say four. The final one here is to stay focused. So I am going to call out Paul Sparks on this one because he did such a fantastic job in that episode. If you didn't listen to that episode, go listen to that one because one of the things he did a very good job with is talking about staying focused. And he mentioned it multiple times. And this is one of the pieces of advice that I give to newer or growing real estate investors when they ask me what's a piece of advice. It's so difficult to not chase that shiny object. So I will give you the same advice I give so many other newer real estate investors, and that is to focus in on one thing, get very, very good at it. Now, if that one thing isn't a fit for you and it doesn't work out so well, it's okay to shift and change, but don't try 3 or 4 different things at one time. So here I was, 22 years old, 23 maybe, just turning 23, and I was a real estate investor. I had one rental property, and I was like dead focused on becoming, a millionaire with real estate. And I thought I was going to get into foreclosures. So I started chasing foreclosures. I started cold calling foreclosures, trying to negotiate with them to buy their properties. And the mentor that I had at the time was big into short sales. So that's when you find a property that is over leveraged, and then you work with the lender to accept less than what's owed to release their lien so that I could buy the properties at a discount. And I got to tell you, these seminars I was going to and the books I was reading is like, this is going to be the easiest strategy ever. And it turned out to be very, very difficult, and it was not a great fit for me. So at the beginning, I chased foreclosures, but then when I discovered lease options and I started honing in on that and focusing in on that, that's the one that took off for me. Now, I really, really believe this. I hope you hear this. If I focus on lease options and foreclosures at the same time, I wouldn't have had success with either one. I started with foreclosures, it didn't work, I shifted and I focused on lease options. But in both cases, I was highly focused on that strategy. And then I found the one that would work and my career really took off. So stay focused. Paul does talk about phase 1. You got to say yes to a lot of things maybe you don't want to do just so that you can get some traction, get some leads in the door, get some deals going. Phase 2 in your career is learning how to say no. So at the beginning, maybe it's focus on saying yes. And then as you grow, focus on saying no and stay in your lane. Finally, I wanted to mention that this season, if you didn't listen to it, you will find that we had a wide variety of different guests, all helping you, the real estate investor and the real estate educator. We had attorneys, we had lenders, we had contractors, we had insurance companies. So anything that you could think of that's helping real estate investors, property management companies. That's what we had on the show this season. So I really think it was a fantastic season. I'm glad to have put in the time and effort to put that together. I'm getting a ton out of this, and I am excited for season 4. And I'm going to close with this. My favorite quote, although it wasn't a quote, it was more of a question that you should ask yourself of the entire season. In fact, this might be my favorite of all 3 seasons since we've been doing the Real Estate Educators podcast, is ask yourself, how can I get better? I hope this podcast is helping you get better. It's definitely helping me get better. So I'll close with that. How can I get better? Looking forward to season 4, you guys. Join me, leave us a 5-star review, and I hope you make this day a great one. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. If you did, please be sure to follow and leave us a review. Oh yeah, and tell a friend.